Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ifeni. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning.
My neighbor.
Yes.
Old boys. How are you?
We've come a long way. Ruben.
Yeah.
Good to hear you this morning. You came in smoking, but we've resolved that.
What will I do? I've known you for how many years now?
Good morning, Rufai.
Good 40 years.
Yes. Good morning, Victoria Tundu MK Abiola.
Good morning.
Yes. Let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, unlike Zamfara, court sacks Umahi. Igwe, 16 lawmakers, says vote belong to party. I am still in charge. Judgment was bought, declares Ebonyi governor. PDP moves to take over, submits names of replacements to INEC. Mike Zokume, judgment cannot stand appeal court scrutiny. Well, many newspapers are also reporting this as their lead story. The Guardian newspaper, court sacks Umahi. Deputy axes 16 lawmakers over defection. Vanguard newspaper, why court sacked Umahi, deputy 16 lawmakers. That's the Vanguard newspaper. Now, the leadership newspaper, okay, that's another legal issue which perhaps we'll just spend some time to discuss. Senate ignores court ruling, begins amendment of new electoral act. Says judiciary must respect principle of separation of powers. Directs INEC to register inmates to vote in 2023. Constitutes committee on sexual harassment bill. Reps pass 56 constitutional amendment bills. Reconsider rejected gender bills. While the New Telegraph newspaper, defection lawyers divided as court sacks Umahi deputy from office. Yes, lawyers have divergent views on this. And we heard Chief Robert Clark, SCN, giving his own perspective. I'm sure a number of other lawyers will differ because he was saying the votes in the elections are not only from members of the political party, but I thought what people were arguing is that all votes cast on that day are for that political party, not necessarily the individual. But of course, this conversation will continue, the legalism, and of course, we can also not forget the morality of this issue. A nobody becomes a governor because people came together to support him, use their political structure to make him governor. Then somewhere along the line, he jumps ship. There's a moral question there, but law is not about morality. So we hope this matter will go all the way to the Supreme Court and we'll hear the final word from the apex court in the land. Yes, Umahi, the governor Umahi, is very angry. But again, like has been said, he has no right to talk down on the judge who delivered that judgment yesterday. If he's so peeved, he knows what to do. Let him appeal. Now, the leadership newspaper story, Senate ignores court ruling, begins amendment of new electoral act. Yes, PDP went to court to stop the National Assembly from amending the Electoral Act 2022. Yes, because we know that the understanding President Muhammadu Buhari had with the National Assembly members was that, look, I'll sign now, then this vexatious clause, 8212 in the Act, 8412 in the law, will be amended. There was that understanding, and it is the duty of the legislature to amend laws, to make laws. I'm not sure there's any restriction to the number of times the legislature can amend a law. So the PDP went to court and they got a judgment. But the Senate president is insisting, you know what? There's separation of powers. Don't interfere with our function. We will not interfere with your function. And the amendment has commenced. We'll see how that pans out. Now, if we just look at other stories quickly, the Daily Independent newspaper, 13 governors may leave party. That's APC crisis we're talking about. 13 governors may leave party, insist on Buni as chairman. Now, economic stories, the Punch newspaper, crude oil price. That's Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, warns hyperinflation. Subsidy hits 400 naira. Diesel, 625 naira. Aviation fuel hits 580 naira per liter. Air travelers stranded to pay more. We rely on diesel. Rise in price means higher cost of production. Now, the Business Day newspaper, Nigeria's petrol subsidy set to surpass 3.3 trillion naira oil revenue. How not to run an economy? You spend more than your revenue to subsidize petroleum product. A product, God has blessed you with crude oil, just the inability to do the needful. And we are importing and importing. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. The Daily Telegraph, Poland offers fighter jets for Ukraine. Rent a MiG scheme would mean, of course, the defense secretary in the UK is also cautioning that this will also may likely expand the war if Poland gives out its MiG Russian-made jets to Ukraine. What Poland is trying to do is to send those planes to NATO base in Germany so that they will not be sent to Ukraine. But the US is also not having any of that because nobody wants that war in Ukraine to expand beyond what it is now. But something that will interest us is in Jerusalem Post, where Zelensky thanks Bennett for his mediation. So the Prime Minister of Israel, Naftali Bennett, is mediating. Over the weekend, he was in Moscow and he was in Berlin. And I hope his mediation will be able to bring peace or ceasefire, at least in the first instance. Yeah. Ruben, Rufai, and
we seem to have run out of time.
I don't know. I had a lot to say.
But it's interesting to hear that the president has written the House to ask for the deletion of Section 84, Subsection 12 of the Electoral Act, despite the fact that a court of law, a federal high court, has already put a restraining order on the National Assembly from considering the matter. However, the main issue in this regard will be about the separation of powers under Sections 4, 5, and 6, and whether the judicial arm of a government whose powers are recognized under Section 6 can put a restraining order on other sections of government. Section 4, dealing with legislative powers. Section 5, dealing with executive powers. But we'll see how that plays out.
All right. I wanted to sound off on the case in Russia and as regards to, but we need to go.